我已经允许回学院蹭吃蹭喝，我也能剥夺你的毕业证。你跟我走一趟。是谁？给我出来！
想是这头斗笠的男学员都失败了。
想要和我在一起，姐妹们，我有个不情之请。姐，首先别打得祸我。站住，宇浩！光明女神蝶。
难道
What happens when a legendary hero tries to stay low-key, but ends up shaking the entire academy instead? In Soul Land 2 Episode 142, the long-awaited Sea God's Fate event finally begins, and what was supposed to be a simple matchmaking ceremony turns into one of the most shocking nights in Shrek Academy's history. Hua Yuhao's true identity as the Eye of Azura is revealed in front of everyone, leaving the entire audience stunned. The youngest member of the Sea God Pavilion, the founder of the Spirit Pagoda, the man who changed the fate of Soul Masters forever, can he really keep hiding anymore? And just when emotions are already at their peak, Tang Wutong does something no one expected. A confession. Right there. In front of everyone. This episode isn't just about strength. It's about love, identity, destiny, and the moment everything finally connects. So let's break it all down. But before we begin, remember this recap is based on the novel and preview content, so when the Donghua officially adapts it, some scenes might not be 100% identical. Still, the emotional core? The shock? The heartbreak? Oh, that's definitely coming. And before we jump in, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing toward 1,000 subscribers, and your support really means everything. Now, without wasting any more time, let's begin. After returning to Shrek Academy, Hua Yuhao was actually in a pretty good mood. He planned to quietly enjoy a meal at the inner courtyard cafeteria before heading to the Sea God's Fate matchmaking event. Simple, peaceful, normal. Or at least, that's what he thought. But fate clearly had other plans. Out of nowhere, a new discipline teacher showed up and immediately targeted him. Without even listening properly, this middle-aged teacher assumed Yuhao was some outsider who had sneaked into freeload. No matter how Yuhao explained himself, the teacher refused to believe a word. He even went so far as to threaten an investigation, and unbelievably, he talked about revoking Yuhao's graduation certificate. That's when Ning Tian stepped forward. Calm but firm, she explained that Hua Yuhao was an inner courtyard student who frequently went out on high-level missions, which was why many didn't recognize him. But the teacher didn't just ignore her, he warned that she would also be punished for protecting him. That instantly ignited Wu Feng's temper. She fired back without hesitation. Even though many inner courtyard students didn't recognize Yuhao at first, they were clearly unhappy. Who could accept being treated like a criminal just for coming back to eat a meal? The atmosphere grew tense as students gathered around. Ning Tian quickly told Yuhao to leave first while they went to find Dean Kai Mayer to resolve the situation. But the teacher wasn't done. He reached out to physically grab Yuhao. And that was his biggest mistake. 8 spirit rings exploded into view, the cultivation of a soul de loi. He was trying to intimidate everyone. But Hua Yuhao didn't even blink. His eyes changed. In the next instant, a terrifying aura burst out from his body, like a ferocious beast awakening. It didn't spread far, but within that small area, the pressure was suffocating. The inner courtyard students were forced several steps back, their expressions turning pale. As for the teacher, he staggered backward and collapsed to the ground, face drained of color. He could never have imagined that this young man, barely in his early 20s, possessed an aura even more terrifying than a title de loi. Yuhao didn't attack again. He simply glanced at Ning Tian and calmly told her to proceed with the plan and asked Dean Kai to handle the matter. Then, in a flash, he disappeared from the cafeteria. After he left, Wu Feng and the others exchanged uneasy looks. They had once said they would surpass him, but now the gap felt immeasurable. Xie Huanyu could only force a bitter smile, silently accepting that some distances simply cannot be bridged. Meanwhile, Dean Kai Mayer was already dealing with that unlucky new teacher. The moment he found out that Hua Yuhao was the youngest member of the Sea God Pavilion, he probably wished the ground would swallow him whole. Soon, Hua Yuhao arrived at Sea God Lake. But his heart wasn't in it. A grand ship sailed slowly across the lake, lights blazing brilliantly against the water. The inner courtyard elders had arrived to observe the ceremony. Elder Xian sat casually at the bow, holding his iconic wine gourd, a plate of chicken legs beside him as always. Elder Song, Yan Xiaozhe, and Xian Liner were also present. Only Dean Kai was missing, still cleaning up the mess at the cafeteria. The ship stopped in the middle of the lake. Then suddenly, beams of light shot up from the water. And within each beam stood a girl in a white dress, identical garments flowing like mist, bamboo hats covering their faces. They looked like fairies rising from the lake itself. The sight snapped Yu Hao out of his thoughts. His breath caught. His heart started racing. Even if he told himself he was just here to go through the motions, how could anyone remain calm in this moment? The scene was exactly like years ago, when he once stood here and confessed to Dong. 16 girls lined up across the lake. Behind one of those hats, could she be there? His emotions surged uncontrollably. The sea god's fate officially began. The first round required the male students to remove the female students' hats. The first male participant leapt into the air, 7 spirit rings blazing, a soul saint. He rushed forward confidently and created a powerful gust of wind with his soul power, attempting to blow off both skirt and hat at once. Amid the chaos, one inexperienced girl panicked and clutched her skirt, forgetting to activate her soul skill. Her hat flew off instantly. In total, 8 of the 16 girls lost their hats. The male student laughed arrogantly and prepared to leave, until the 8th girl suddenly shouted and punched forward. A dragon's roar echoed. Golden fist energy shot out like a meteor. The male student barely reacted in time. The soul power within that fist was fierce and domineering. It exploded upon contact. Even though he defended, he was blasted into the air. His protective skill shattered and he fell straight into the lake. He managed to stabilize himself mid-air, silver wings unfolding behind him as he flew back, but sweat drenched his forehead. Blood and chi churned violently within him as he struggled to suppress the invading soul power. Who was this girl? With strength like that, she might not even be a soul saint. She could very well be an 8-ring soul dolua. And here's the crazy part, no one could remove her hat. One by one, 36 male students tried and failed. Huo Yuhao stood at the very back, silently observing. When it was finally his turn, only 4 girls still wore their hats. Since he was already here, he stepped forward. Unlike the others, he didn't release a single soul ring. He simply walked, calmly, across the surface of the lake. Not flying, not flashing spirit rings. Just walking. The students were stunned. Some wondered how he could walk freely on water. Others guessed he was controlling his flight altitude with perfect precision. But he just walked. And for some reason, he headed straight toward the 8th girl, the one whose voice had sounded strangely familiar. He reached out to lift her hat. His movement wasn't fast at all. In his mind, since she had displayed such overwhelming strength, she would surely block him, giving him an excuse to withdraw gracefully. But she didn't move. She allowed him to grasp the brim. Now he couldn't stop. Letting go would be disrespectful. It would insult the entire ceremony. His heart tightened. The scene overlapped perfectly with his memory of confessing to Donga years ago. Slowly, he lifted the hat. And then, long, wavy, light blue hair. Delicate, breathtaking features. She looked exactly like Donger. His entire body trembled. Donger, he whispered. But she replied softly, I am Tang Wutong. Those words felt like ice water pouring over his soul. Donger had straight hair. Only Tang Wutong had those flowing waves. Reality crashed down. The ecstasy shattered. Without another word, Huo Yuhao turned and fled, as if escaping from a dream he could no longer bear. Then came the second round. The girls were to leave their lights on for the male students they were willing to choose. Huo Yuhao secretly wished for darkness. He wanted every light to go out. He wanted an excuse to leave. But when the light stabilized, all 16 remained on. A perfect record. And that, everyone, is where the real emotional storm begins. Because next, his identity as the Eye of Azura will be revealed before the entire academy, and Tang Wutong's confession will shake the lake itself. If you thought this was intense, just wait for what's coming next. As we saw earlier, all 16 lights remained on. And the reason? News had already spread about what happened in the cafeteria. The story of how Huo Yuhao casually intimidated an 8-ring Soul Dolua teacher had traveled faster than the wind. On top of that, Tang Wutong didn't resist at all when he lifted her hat. The girls were naturally curious. Who exactly was this calm, mysterious senior? Then came the third round. And of course, Huo Yuhao's luck struck again. He was drawn first. When it was his turn to introduce himself, he simply said, "My name is Huo Yuhao." That's it. But the host wasn't about to let him escape that easily. The introduction began. He joined Shrek Academy at 11 years old. He possesses twin martial souls. He represented the Academy twice in the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament, turned the tide in critical battles, and earned the eternal title of one of the Shrek's 7 devils. He founded the Spirit Pagoda. He invented soul spirits. He became the youngest member in the history of the Sea God Pavilion. And he carries a resounding title, the Eye of Azura. After those words echoed across the lake, silence fell. The female students stared in shock, mouths slightly open. The male students were completely dumbfounded. Even the outer courtyard students who had greeted him casually earlier that day almost dropped their jaws. So that was him, the Academy's living legend. On the large ship in the distance, Elder Xian grinned and said it was about time this kid became properly famous, otherwise he'd keep trying to hide and slack off. Yan Xiaozhe nodded repeatedly, laughing as he looked at Hu Yuhao standing helplessly on the lake. And then, seeing how overwhelmingly popular he was, they made a decision. To keep things fair, Hu Yuhao would complete all procedures alone first. The girls could choose him once, and then choose again afterward. The male students immediately cheered. Yuhao had no choice but to nod. Honestly, he was only thinking about finishing quickly so he could return and prepare for the graduation assessment the next day. Then the girls began choosing. With his status and achievements, who wouldn't be tempted? The youngest Sea God Pavilion member. Founder of the Spirit Pagoda. Inventor of soul spirits. Even after the host warned that an exceptionally outstanding man might not be suitable for everyone, for lights still lit up. Number 3, a short-haired girl in white, spoke bluntly. She admired strong men and chose Yuhao out of curiosity and the desire to fight. If he wanted to become her man, he'd have to defeat her first. Her personality could be summed up in one word: fierce. Number 6, Muyu, had a gentle voice. She said Hu Yuhao was her idol. She knew she had no particular advantages, but standing up here today was the bravest thing she had ever done. Number 11, Su Tong, still wearing her bamboo hat, spoke coldly. She revealed that she also possessed the ultimate ice martial soul and was a 7-ring soul saint. She wanted to compete with him, to see exactly where the gap lay. That shocked everyone. Even the elders on the ship didn't know there was another ultimate ice user in the inner academy. And finally, number 8, Tang Wutong. She looked directly at Hu Yuhao and began recounting everything. From the anger she felt when he mistook her for Wang Dong'er, to the admiration she felt watching him protect his companions, to the indescribable joy of eating his grilled fish, and then that day in the military camp, when she allowed him to probe her with his soul power, a moment that any soul master would understand. Hu Yuhao should understand. Hearing her words, Yuhao felt bitterness rising in his chest. That probe, after failing, he had forced himself to accept that Tang Wutong was not Dong. When she urged him to take her away, something deep inside him trembled. No matter how similar they looked, they were not the same person. When it came time to choose, Hu Yuhao apologized to all 4 girls. He said he already had someone in his heart. There was no space for anyone else. He turned to leave, but he was stopped simultaneously. Number 3 and Su Tong insisted on sparring with him. Tang Wutong remained silent, simply staring at him. Annoyed and emotionally overwhelmed, Yuhao decided to demonstrate just enough power to make them retreat. He stepped forward from the water lily and onto the lake surface. Ice formed beneath his feet as he stood on a frozen patch. Looking up at the sky, his mind was filled with Dong. He levitated. 7 spirit rings appeared around him. Yet the aura of this 7-ring spirit saint was far more terrifying than that of many 8-ring spirit Duluos. Then he threw a punch toward the sky. His entire body turned golden. At that moment, everyone present felt something stir in their hearts, a longing for the person they cherished most. Some thought of their parents, some of their lovers. A golden pillar of light shot upward, illuminating Sea God Lake and Sea God Island. Within that light, a golden figure slowly emerged. Long flowing hair. Radiant. Just like Tang Wutong. Hu Yuhao knew. That was his Dong, his goddess of light. He gazed at the shadow with tenderness and longing. When the light slowly dissipated, he returned to reality and asked number 3 if she still wanted to fight. She immediately admitted defeat. After witnessing that move, she didn't even have the courage to challenge him anymore. Instead, she expressed even greater admiration and said she wanted to join the Tang sect. Then she left the stage. Next was Su Tong. This time, Hu Yuhao switched martial souls. 8 spirit rings appeared. The crowd gasped. 4 were blood red, 100,000-year rings. The other 4 were orange gold. No one present could recognize them. He simply stood there, and the waters of Sea God Lake began freezing. Within moments, the entire surface turned to ice. He calmly told Su Tong that if she could melt it, she could challenge him. She turned around and left without a word. It was clearly impossible. There was no point. Now Yu Hao thought he could finally leave. But once again, he was stopped. Tang Wutong stepped forward. She said she wouldn't fight, but she wanted to probe his soul power, just like he once probed hers. He was in a hurry, and deep down, he always had special feelings for her. So he agreed. She placed her hand on his. Her soul power entered his body. Behind her, a pair of golden dragon butterfly wings spread open. 8 soul rings shone around her. But then something strange happened. The trident mark on her forehead began absorbing the golden light mist. The scales on her wings slowly disappeared. The gold faded, and finally, her martial soul transformed into the goddess of light butterfly, the one he knew so well. The soul power flowing into him changed too. From unfamiliar to familiar. It intertwined with his own soul power. And then it began to merge. Haodong power. The power that only appeared when he and Donga were together. Hu Yuhao froze completely. His hands gripped Tang Wutong tightly as tears streamed down his face. Tang Wutong looked at him, her eyes also filled with tears, and smiled softly. Idiot! That single word shattered every trace of bitterness in Hu Yuhao's heart. And that, everyone, is the moment where love, destiny, and truth collide. The Eye of Azura stands revealed before the entire academy. And Tang Wutong confesses without ever directly saying the words. The real storm of emotions has only just begun.